Blue Yonder's Luminate Commerce leverages the supply chain to profitably engage and deliver on promises to customers. Leading retailers rely on Blue Yonder's order management and fulfillment capabilities to grow their digital business. Learn more at blueyonder.com.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Editor-in-Chief of Total Retail. I am joined on today's episode by Tom Ripley, the chairman of Lids, as well as a partner at Ames Watson. We're going to be speaking with Tom about Lids' growth in the brick-and-mortar space, particularly a new flagship store with the National Hockey League in Manhattan, as well as about some of the other things that the company is building upon and growing. So thank you for joining me today, Tom.
Excited to be here, Joe. Thanks for having me.
So as I noted, I wanted to get us started. Before we kind of jump into some of the things I mentioned, I'm interested in kind of your career path. And I mentioned chairman at Lids and a partner at Ames Watson. Tell us a little bit about your role at Lids Sports Group and kind of how you ended up there.
So my partner, Lawrence Berger, and I own what's called a committed capital firm called Ames Watson, and we acquired Lids in February of 2019. Lawrence and I are both turnaround guys. We actually met at a prior firm many years ago, and rekindled our relationship in 2016, and kind of have been off to the races since. Lids was very much a turnaround story when we acquired it, and it's been just a wonderful success. We have a great team. Today, I'm the chairman of the firm, and my partner and I were the majority owners of Lids.
So you mentioned some of the exciting things and kind of the turnaround story at Lids. One thing I wanted to talk about is the company recently partnered with the NHL for the flagship store in New York City, as I mentioned. Tell us a little about that initiative and why Lids is excited to be part of the kind of this rolling out this unique store environment.
So there are a couple of thoughts. First, Lids is in a lot of places that you may not know. A good example is we run all of the New York Yankees clubhouses. We run the LA Dodgers clubhouse. It says Dodgers on the front. It says New York Yankees on the front, but that's very much a Lids experience. So hockey is, one of the big four professional sports where my partner and I are avid hockey fans. Go Caps. And so we were thrilled at the opportunity to partner with the NHL to run that store. Now, the store relationship started with Fanatics, who was our partner at Lids, and really Fanatics sees us as the very best brick and mortar retailer anywhere. And so when it came time to relocate that store, they were very excited to work with the NHL to have us run the store. The store is located in Midtown, a place called One Manhattan West, just west of the Madison Square Garden. It's actually on the ground floor of the NHL Corp League headquarters. It's a brand new store. We opened it in September 27th, and it's just been great.
Yeah, that opening coinciding with the kind of the start of the hockey season, so it's kind of drumming up that interest and getting, I'm sure, a lot of traffic as consumers get back into kind of the start of the winter hockey and winter sports seasons, I guess.
Totally, it is. We just had the Islanders just played their first home game, and we've seen kind of an immediate snapback of traffic. Truthfully, the traffic in Manhattan has kind of gotten better every week, and but with hockey now upon us and the regular season games upon us, we've seen a nice snapback. It's the store environment it's everything you would expect for an NHL store. Their global flagship, lots of TVs. There's 29 high-def TVs all over the walls. We have the ability to make every player jersey for every team in the NHL. We have the ability to do every T-shirt, name and number for any player. It's truly a fan experience, and it's really just a beautiful store.
Yeah, sounds a lot more than just like your typical retail store transaction. This is really an experience. Sounds like a hockey fan's dream, kind of going into the store and getting to experience everything it has to offer.
To cap it off, it's going to have the Stanley Cup will reside there periodically throughout the season. There's going to be there's an exhibit there for U.S. men's and women's hockey So it's got a little bit of everything. It's a store at its core. That's what Lids is. We're a retailer, but it definitely has a little bit more to offer than just your average NHL store.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So, in addition to the NHL, Lids is partnered with other leagues, the NBA being one, for a flagship store in London. Tell us a little bit about how Lids store operations expertise. Actually, you just mentioned that Lids at its core is a retail organization. How that store operations expertise is proving to be a valuable asset as you partner with these sports leagues such as the NBA, NHL, as these organizations, those leagues look to push further into the retail space.
Yeah, so we immediately, when we took over, we focused intensely on what is the store experience. Amazon has trained people to expect it overnight on your doorstep, whatever you want. But truly, for people to enjoy the retail, it has to be an experience. It has to be a broad selection. There has to be an ability to try things on and touch things. And for us, fortunately, headwear and fan apparel is very interactive. It's very exciting. There's a tangible aspect to it, and so it doesn't play well to online. It's something that people like to come in and experience. And so the NBA partnership is one that's just blossomed. We reopened on October 1st the NBA flagship store on Fifth Avenue in New York City after a full renovation, a 5-month renovation of that store. It's a phenomenal experience. The NBA is thrilled with the work that we've done there. So excited about it that they asked us to take them international. So we opened the London store. That opened a little earlier in the year in April. And that store, if you to go right to the heart of your question, our point of sale arrived in a box. You cut the box open, turn the device on, connect it to the internet, and you can run transactions. We use a Microsoft MPOS system. It is a handheld device. Our conversion and our average sale have both gone up because of it, because there is a interaction. The associate's not stuck behind that kind of grocery counter, credenza. They're able to kind of move out into the store and interact with the customer, help them find the right size, all with the point of sale in their hand.
Yeah. And I want to get back to, you mentioned the store in London. I want to get back to the kind of international growth opportunity that is there for Lids, as these sports leagues have really become global in their nature. It would seem like that international could be an opportunity there. But before I touch on that, I just kind of, Tom, in terms of brick and mortar retail, obviously it's so many challenges in the last year and a half or year, almost 2 years, due to the pandemic with brick and mortar retail. But Lids has really been bullish on that channel. Tell us a little bit about the kind of current position Lids holds in terms of brick and mortar, and how that kind of factors into future planning as well.
Sure, I'll probably touch on both questions. So we're very unique in that we don't believe, and this is going to sound like heresy, we don't believe in omni-channel. We have partnered with Fanatics, and they run our entire online experience. Lids.com, lids.ca. They're the very best on the planet at licensed sports online experience. And that liberates me and my team to focus purely on the in-store experience and the brick and mortar traditional retail. So we're running at it. To your question, Lids had 1,180 stores when we acquired the business. We've probably closed over 300 stores, and we've opened over 400 stores. We're constantly looking for new places and new opportunities. The Lids store is an iconic experience. It really completes a shopping experience, a mall or a promenade. And so we've really rapidly grown. One of the few retailers that are adding storefronts as fast as we can find a venue or space that works for our model. And so, to your second comment, we're working very, very hard to go international. Our international stores will be exactly like our US Lid stores. They're going to be 1,500 square feet, US product, US teams. That's what the market wants. And we'll probably open 100 stores outside of, we're already in Canada, but outside of North America, we'll probably open 100 to 200 stores in the next 12 months. And from London, Germany, Paris, Israel, the Middle East, Mexico, Australia are all places where we're not just talking about them. They're not pins on the map. We're negotiating leases right now.
Yeah, so that's really exciting and encouraging news for the industry and for your company itself, obviously. Two follow-ups there, Tom. One, in terms of the store locations themselves, diversification there. So traditionally, I think of Lids as a mall-based retailer. Obviously, that still can be part of the kind of portfolio going forward, but are you also investigating outside of malls as well, city centers? You mentioned a couple of the Manhattan, kind of these flagship stores at the NHL and the NBA store in Manhattan as well. Tell us a little bit about kind of store location. And then I have one other question in terms of international and kind of targeting your markets there as well.
Yeah, so Lids today, inclusive of our college business, we're 2,000 locations. Of those 2,000 locations, 740 are mall based. So absolutely, you're feeling, and frankly, everyone, the stereotype for Lids is we're a mall based retailer, and for a long time we used to be. But some of the best malls in America today are not like they're our grandparents' malls or the malls we grew up in. They're outside experiences. They're fountains and entertainment for kids are incorporated into the mall. Sometimes they're attached to sports venues or downtown city centers. And so Lids is really excited about those opportunities. Those are promote a younger lifestyle, a more active lifestyle. And so we have been running at those types of opportunities. We also have really engaged on what we call near venue. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Just outside of Wrigley Field, there's about $20 million in Cubs merchandise sold outside of Wrigley Field within walking distance. We put a store right outside the foul pole in left field. It faces the stadium. That's going to be a $2 million store. It's a Lids store. It's a fantastic experience. You're capturing that foot traffic going to the game. Another example would be we just opened a store right outside of Ohio State Stadium. And so it's again, lots of foot traffic, a very active community, a college community. And so those are the kinds of places where Lids has started to diversify its portfolio.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, especially with the customer that you're targeting. They're invested in it. When they're going to a game, they're invested. They might want to buy a cap or a T-shirt or a jersey because they're invested in the team that they're going to see. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of that kind of near strategy that you just talked about. My follow-up on the international piece is kind of identifying markets and different sports, obviously different markets more popular. Tell us a little about kind of how you identify which markets you want to go into and how the strategies in each market. I know there's too many to go through all, but maybe you have an example of one where you go in with a certain merchandise idea or kind of how you want to set it up based upon the demographics in that particular market.
Yeah, sure. So I alluded to this in the beginning of our conversation. We look closely at there are a couple of key parameters we look at. So one, we have to have the right rent deal. It's just we're not interested in working for landlords, and so we have to have the right rent deal where we truly partner with the landlord, and we created an opportunity and experience where if we win, they win. And so it's that rent structure is critical. But before you get there, we have to have a place where there is a need and a want for people to go. So the Eaton Center in downtown Toronto, a place where it has its own center of gravity. People travel there for work. They travel there to eat, to shop. There are more than just one reason to go there. Those are kind of some of the core underpinnings. It doesn't have to be a sports market. That's not a requirement for us. What it has to be is it has to be a market where there's an activity center. As long as there's that component, we feel like Lids can be very competitive in that environment.
So in the environment in which we're operating in, specifically the category that which Lids operates, sports merchandise, obviously that landscape changes very quickly. So I'm curious how you and the entire company have worked to become more agile and be able to react to situations in near real time to capitalize on some of the opportunities that are in hand, specifically in that sports merchandise space.
Well, when my partner Lawrence and I came to Lids, one of the tenets of our approach is we question everything. So as an example, we questioned all of the leadership, all of the people, the structure. When we bought the company, they were in a 352,000 square foot, 4-story office building. We're in 42,000 square foot, single floor building today. We've streamlined the business. We have 2,000 less employees than we did when we acquired it. As I said earlier, we're growing as fast as we can. But what we've done is we've empowered the team. We've gone with a decentralized approach. We have a brand new president, Brick-and-Mortar, who's been a wonderful leader for us. Britain's 37 years old. I'm not looking for, to me, age and time on the job is not a determinant for success. It may be a component of success, but we want young, hungry, high energy people because they're liberated of bad habits and they will question and try anything. And to us, that's the key. The key there is a willingness to try stuff, right? The MBA experience in London is exactly that. Up until when we showed up, Lids had never been international. Yeah. And we went to the MBA and asked them, and they said, sure, let's give it a try. It's going to be a $6 million store. A single location is going to be $6 million for us in the MBA. It's because we're willing to roll the dice.
Yeah, that innovativeness and that, that culture that you're building, we could spend another half hour talking just about that. I know we've talked
for sure
a lot of kind of business strategy, and that whole kind of leadership piece and building that culture that you were just speaking to could be another episode in itself. I'll close with this final question for you, Tom. Coming out of the holiday season and entering a new year, I'm interested in your take on kind of the headlines and trends that you're forecasting, not only for your own business at Lids, but the retail industry as a whole as we start a new year.
It'd be a little bullish to say retail is back in big quotation marks. I think that's probably a little bullish, but the truth is I think retail is alive and as healthy as it's ever been. We had record retail sales last year, same for the year prior. I think for retail that provides a great product and a great experience to customers with wonderful selection, that will always have a place in the American shopping experience and frankly in the international shopping experience. And so we are really excited about what we have going this year. We've got a couple of blockbuster launches that are going to happen right after the release of this podcast. That'll be, I think, frankly, just record breaking.
Great. Well, definitely some exciting times ahead, both for Lids under the guidance of Tom Ripley, as well as the industry as a whole. Kind of that positive thinking that so many are looking forward to. So I want to take the opportunity to thank Tom Ripley, who is the chairman at Lids, as well as a partner at Ames Watson, for joining us on today's episode of Total Retail Talks. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcast for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.
Inventory availability, order optimization, seamless order orchestration, and fulfillment. All necessary ingredients to deliver omni-channel commerce experiences. Learn more at blueyonder.com.